So Wrong Turn tells the story of a group of friends and a stranger they just met trying to survive in the woods against a group of inbred mountain men. What's up everybody, and welcome to my Wrong Turn review series. This has been a review series I've kind of been putting off and avoiding for a long time. I've had a lot of requests for it. It almost made our second 31 on 31, but managed to get away from it by the skin of our teeth. But since we got a new Wrong Turn coming out, some of you have already seen it. I have not, was not released anywhere near me. It's going to be released on VOD later this month. I figure what better time to just hammer through these movies really quick in leading up to the release of this new Wrong Turn film. So over the next couple of weeks, you're going to get all of these movies. I believe there's 6, maybe 7 of them, and then we're going to get the new one. So starting off with this original film, this is actually the only one that I have seen multiple times. I've seen Wrong Turn 2. I remember absolutely nothing about it aside from Henry Rollins being in it. So for all intents and purposes, Wrong Turn 2 through the end are all going to be first-time watches for me. And to be honest, I've always been a little bit surprised and fascinated how long this movie series has been going on, even to the point of us getting a reboot this year. So for reasons I'll get into, but going into the positives of Wrong Turn 2003, the first one that always stands out to me is I really enjoy this cast. Not necessarily because of their acting ability, although they're all pretty solid actors. There's a lot of like weird ties that all of these actors had at the time. I was 13 when this movie came out, and you get characters that played by like Lindy Booth, who I remember from the Disney Channel. She was on Jet Jackson. You get Kevin Zegers, who was always in the Air Bud movies and a couple other things up to that point. Desmond Harrington, who I had just seen in Ghost Ship, like maybe the same year, the year prior. Obviously now I know him more from Dexter. And then Eliza Dushku, who we all know from True Lies. So it's like a whole cast. Oh, and that fine-ass chick with the blue top, what's her name? Emmanuel? Yeah, she was from Snow Day. So it's a bunch of really weird, mostly Disney-centric references that I have for these characters to when I first saw it, I was like, I know them. I know him. I know her. What the fuck? This is a weird cast. I always enjoy revisiting the movie for that alone, but the cast of characters here, they're decent enough. They're solid. They're workable for what they're going for. You got Desmond Harrington, is just kind of a regular guy, gets thrust into this situation on the way somewhere and goes off the wrong turn. You have Eliza Dushku, who's kind of like the leader somewhat of this group of people that he comes into contact with. Jeremy Sisto, he's the one person I never really knew before this movie. Him and Emmanuel are newly engaged, so they're kind of like the couple. They're the ones that, you know, your heart wants to survive. And then you have Lindy Booth and Kevin Zegers, who are kind of like the two assholes of the group, and they're the wild ones. And as soon as they walk away, even though they're in a horrible situation already, the first thing they want to do is fuck. So yeah, this movie's got pretty much characters well-rounded for a slasher movie. Carnage candy in this one? Pretty good, especially for the times. Pretty gory kills here. You get arrows through the eyes, you get decapitations, you get partial decapitations, you get people being cut up on a table, you get arrows through the hearts. I mean, they're pretty creative kills for the time. Obviously, some of them haven't stood the test. We've seen much more creative, much more gory, and much more impressive kills since 2003. But for a middle-of-the-road slasher film that kind of came out of nowhere, the carnage candy here is decent enough. You come to a slasher movie for the kills, and Wrong Turn does do better than most movies of that era. I also really like the mountains and the woods as a setting for a horror film. Now, obviously, we've seen horror films and slasher films, especially in the woods, Friday the 13th being probably the prominent one. But this one's a little different. It's not like you're going out into a lake or a campground woods. This is mountainous. They have to climb things. There's watchtowers, there's cliffs, there's rivers. And I kind of like that nature aesthetic that it gives to this movie. It kind of bounces off of how gritty and horrible the villain's house is and all that Texas Chainsaw shit that's pushed into the first 20 minutes of this movie. You kind of explore this vast wilderness, especially the scene when they're up in the watchtower and they look out and it's just like mountains and trees everywhere. It's one of those things where in a horror movie, openness is almost like isolation because they can go anywhere to escape, but because they have everywhere to go. There's no obvious safe place to go. And I do think the movie's paced pretty well. It's less than 90 minutes, so it gets in, it gets out. It introduces you to the situation right away. It introduces you to the characters right away. As soon as the villains show up, they're there. There's not a long, painful setup. It's not half of the movie doing all this character development. They get right into what you came here for, seeing mountain men fuck people up. And going along with that pacing, I feel like the kills are paced pretty well too. It's not a movie where you get like a really good death scene in the beginning, and then it's 45 minutes till you see another one, and then there's 45 minutes till you see another one. About every 20 minutes or so, there's a pretty decent kill in this movie, to where if that's all you're interested in, that's paced out pretty well too. And my final positive, for a movie that's not really trying to make you laugh, there's one scene in this movie that for whatever reason always makes me gut laugh. I don't know if it's because I just put myself in this character's position and it's exactly what I would do in that situation if I was the one running to be a distraction. Jeremy Sisto at one point has to run away to distract the mountain men so that his wife, his friend, and Desmond Harrington can get away clean. And he runs away, and his distraction is pretty much like this. Fuckers! Asshole motherfuckers! And I don't know why, it just always makes me laugh. I don't know if it's because, something about it, it just hits my funny bone. So whenever I watch this movie, I always look forward to that scene. Now moving on to the negatives. Wrong Turn is a decent, middle-of-the-road slasher movie. Nothing more, nothing less. This is not a movie that is shooting to be anything more than mediocre. And this is a movie that is not really memorable beyond a few kills and what I think is an interesting cast. It does something with the subgenre that has been done to death, and been done even more to death since this movie has come out. It basically takes direct inspiration from The Hills Have Eyes with a little bit of Texas Chainsaw cannibalism thrown in there, and just does what is already proven in this hillbilly, inbred, cannibal slasher film subgenre. And it doesn't really do anything beyond that. There's nothing about Wrong Turn that stands out. There's nothing about Wrong Turn that they do better than somebody else. They don't take some inspiration for something and spin it in some new way that's cool and unique. They literally just do what people know has already been done well, and they do it decent enough again. There's never been anything that really stands out about this movie to me. There's never been anything that's like, man, I love revisiting Wrong Turn because of that. I get to re-experience that. There's nothing that it did for the genre. There's nothing that it did that other films have taken inspiration from Wrong Turn that I know of. It's just one of those movies that happened. There's no legacy there for me. And that's why it's always been surprising for me that this has gone on for 6, 7 movies and we're getting a reboot. There's not really any legacy here, aside from, okay, they're cheap to make. They make a little bit of money. And going along with that, Wrong Turn gives you every single tried and true cliche of this genre in spades. Every single one. Somebody's inconvenienced on the safe path to wherever they're going, and they say, fuck that shit, I'm going off the beaten path, and they find trouble. Seen that a million times. On the way there, they stop to a gas station. There's some ominous, creepy hillbilly guy with like 2.5 teeth that gives an ominous enough indifference to the fact that this guy's even here, and as he walks away, gives an ominous enough line to let everybody in the audience know, ooh, shit's about to go down. Soon as stuff starts to get crazy, 2 characters immediately want to start fucking. The 2 people that represent love in this movie are obviously not going to be together in the climax of this movie and are separated almost immediately by death. Characters making the most obviously worst decision possible in every single scenario they get into with this movie. Hey, I have to piss. Let's walk to this fucked up house with 1,000,000 goddamn cars and trash everywhere and fucking bones and grime and mud and fucking everything that will make you throw up just by describing. Let's walk in here. Let's check this place out. Nobody's home, but fuck it. Let's just walk in. Let's touch everything. Let's open everything. Do you motherfuckers even watch the horror genre? It's these types of movies where characters make decisions that you almost want them to die. Just to be examples. It's like, you know what? You want to be that stupid, you deserve to get an arrow right in your dick. Oh, and let's not forget about the cliche that no matter how many fucking bullets and arrows and explosions you have these villains in, they always just keep coming back and keep coming back. They're inbred mountain men. They're not Jason Voorhees, but somehow they always survive. Did you watch the credit scene? Yep, they survived. I don't want to seem like I'm being too unfair on this movie. Like I said, it's a middle-of-the-road, average budget slasher film. Of course, it's gonna do some stupid shit. That's kind of almost the baggage that slasher movies come with nowadays. But I had to point it out. If it's there, that's one of the things I remember this movie for, is just like, these motherfuckers do the dumbest shit from start to finish. Overall, guys, I enjoy Wrong Turn enough. This is, like I said, a middle-of-the-road slasher film. If you're a slasher fan, if you like Texas Chainsaw, if you like Hills Have Eyes, you're probably gonna enjoy this decent enough. I just don't think the movie has enough in there to really be anything beyond a decent movie that we all kind of remember, and probably wouldn't remember as much if there wasn't 6 other movies attached to this fucking thing. This is a movie that does what it's supposed to do and doesn't really have the effort or the ambition or the creativity to do anything beyond the minimum effort to do what it's supposed to do for slasher fans. So if you're a fan of the slasher genre, you like hillbilly cannibal movies, you want to see people get tore up for 85 minutes, you can do a hell of a lot worse than Wrong Turn. It's a decent enough movie, check it out, but if you're not a horror fanatic and already have this on your shelves, just save a little bit of money and stream it. So what do you guys think of Wrong Turn? Let me know all of your thoughts down below. Is this anybody's favorite movie or favorite slasher franchise? Is this like top 3 for you? I'm curious if there's any of those out there. I don't think that there is. Let me know down below. Prove me wrong. What is your favorite movie in this franchise? Do I have any good movies in my future for this review series? And please don't spoil anything about the new movie, but if you've seen it, is it good? Is it worth doing this review series for it? Let me know down below as well. Please like and share this video. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already become a subscriber. I got a lot of other horror franchises that I've already reviewed. Time to add this one to the pile. And as always, guys, remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean that you have to be.